Hello and welcome to Made by Mamas, the podcast. I'm Zoe.
And I'm Georgia.
And we're here talking all things parenthood, tips and tricks,
products we love,
and brands that we can't live without. Let's get into it.
Oh, well, just before we pressed record, Zoe and I were telling each other how much we love each other. So we thought we'd kick off the podcast like this and and we love you guys. We just love everyone today, don't we, Zoe?
Yeah, I think it's really important to tell the person that you work with or the person that you live with that you appreciate them.
Yes.
And we sometimes forget in life, don't we? Because we're so busy like ticking off the things on our list, looking after our kids, juggling work, meeting up with friends, that actually the person that takes the bins out or, you know, makes you a cup of tea in bed, you don't take the time to go or, you know, helps you out like you did yesterday, George, when George basically ran our Instagram and did loads of amazing stories, edited our bump dress video, and she just nailed it. And I just said to her this morning, I was like, I love you so much and thank you for doing what you do, because I couldn't do it without you. And hopefully she feels the same about me.
I couldn't do it without you either. And I think, do you know what as well? Like just your friends, you know, we talk about how much we, you know, not load on our friends, but we tell our friends everything and they listen to us. And it is just thanking all those people who do those things, little acts every day.
Yeah.
And it puts you in a good mood, doesn't it? No one's going to be upset if someone's saying thank you to you.
Yeah, and I actually think it's quite an interesting exercise if you thank your partner and say to them, I really appreciate you. And also really good for us to hear it, because generally it's us picking up all of the slack. So
yeah, please
if you're listening, can you please say thank you to me? Because I'm doing all the childcare and working this week whilst it's Easter. How are you, George?
I'm all right. I'm fine. It's actually the end of our Easter holidays because our Axel started slightly earlier than I think a lot of people's. And it's been quite nice this week because, you know, like we've been able to meet up with other people and it's made it so much easier. And actually it's made me feel like, oh, you know what? The holidays aren't actually that bad, because everything I've known of school holidays, they've been awful because we've not been able to go anywhere and we've been stuck at home. And so, yeah, I don't know. And also, you know, like at the weekend, I got to see my friends and I got to see my family. So it's just, I don't know, I feel, more positive. How about you?
Yeah, I feel the same as you, actually. It hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be. And that's an awful thing to say. And I hope my kids don't take that the wrong way if they ever heard that. I don't mean it as in, I love spending time with them. It gives me so much joy. But I think I was experiencing some anxiety around the juggle.
Yes.
Because really the school holidays are not programmed for working parents. They're just not. No. And that you can't, you know, there's no way to sugarcoat that. They're just not. And so if you are trying to fit it all in and you don't have childcare, which is our situation at the moment, there's a lot. And as I said before, you know, Doz has got this new job, which is kind of taking precedent over my stuff at the moment. So he's kind of up and out the door and doing his thing, which, you know what, is making him feel amazing. And that's great. But I'm just like, oh yeah, how am I going to do it all? Isla came back this week as well. So that's another big baby added into the mix. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just a bit calmer. I think my hormones have balanced out. I've upped my dose of estrogen a little bit and I just feel like it's helped me loads. And I'm not bubbling over like I was before. I was just getting really, really angry and really ragey really quickly. And I seem to be able to be a lot calmer with them, which is making life a lot more enjoyable.
Oh, well, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
A fantastic note for a Friday morning.
Now, what are you doing today, George?
So we've had like various discussions about lots of things, haven't we? Like over the last few weeks, like, you know, how we just be comfortable with who we are now. You know, like we're getting older and things come with getting older, especially when you can't go to the hairdressers.
You mean the greys?
Yeah, you know, there's just so much, and there's just so much I think that's come up this year, especially just all those things that have been taken away from us that maybe used to make us feel good and make us feel like us. They've been taken away, and so it's learning how to be like comfortable in your own skin. So we open up the questions to you guys and we are going to crack on and answer some of them.
Yeah, the way I see it is like I feel like a giant turd at the moment, and it's all about polishing that turd, and all of those tools that I like to make myself nice and shiny with have been taken away from me. So now I'm just a bit of a sort of dull turd.
A dodgy turd.
A dodgy turd. Right, let's get into it.
So this is from Sarah. She says, constantly worried about making mistakes at work. any tips?
Oh my gosh, Sarah, loads of tips. Because obviously, you know, we're in a situation where there's a lot of pressure on us. And I think pressure on us as parents, pressure on us as working mums, the mum guilt, there's all these emotions that go around it. You're trying to prove to your bosses, your employers, that you are still good enough / better than you were before / being able to, you know, get all your work done and be the best mum that you can be, and it's just like a constant treadmill of feeling like you are potentially not good enough. And then obviously the fear sets in, and I really feel that as well. When I go into work and I do my live radio shows, there is so much pressure on me to get it right. And I think I put the added, you know, load on my shoulders that I've got 3 little people at home as well that I've got to get it right for as well. So yeah, I definitely feel it. I think the only thing that you can do is make sure that you're really prepped and really prepared, so that you're not flustered when you're in a situation, so that you know exactly, be really organized, make sure that you've got everything set out. I'm not sure what it is that you do for work, but and also give yourself a break, that you are only human, you're not a robot, and that people make mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
There is nobody in your work that is not making you know, messing things up, or making little mistakes, or fucking things up on a monumental scale, that is getting away with that. Would you agree? Like people do that, and that's life.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I think we're kind of programmed to think it's really bad to fail. But I started listening to a podcast, Elizabeth Day, How to Fail. And actually, you listen to that and you start to not worry about, you know, the small little things that you're failing at. And you know, you see the bigger picture. But also, you know, like, I think after you get back from maternity leave, after having a baby, it does take a little while. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, we say this thing, don't we, baby brain? I feel like it's a real thing. It has to be a real thing. There's something. Of course it is. It's just an adjustment. That's all it is. And like Zoe said, just don't give yourself a hard time. I think it's so normal. And I think when you say these things as well, like, it's almost easier to put it out there, you know, like, just address any little mistakes that you've made, put it out there, and then it's done.
And it's
rather
done.
than
Move on.
In your head and worrying about them. Just tell your colleague or whoever it is, I know I did that, you know, that was silly, I won't do that again, or
that was a genuine mistake, didn't know that was going to happen. Exactly. I'll give you an example, Sarah, of where it happens to me, and that is when I'm doing a live link to like 9 million people and I've got a producer in the room who's looking at me, and we've gone through the link, although it's not written down, it's all ad-libbed, and then when I close the mic at the end, I look up at my producer and they will highlight if I've said a couple of words wrong or tripped on a word. They might giggle, or, you know, made a mistake on one, and they'll giggle. And I'm now not looking at my producer, because I only want to take the positives away from that. Like, you know, I'm not a robot, I'm not a computer, I'm a human being, and human beings trip up on their words, and, you know, it's just life. It's just life. Fuck it. Whatever. So I've just found out I'm pregnant and not used to huge boobs, struggling to feel confident.
Ooh.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Huge boobs.
Huge boobs. I feel like I quite enjoyed them.
Oh my God, I did.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. It can be hard. It's the same, you know, like if you're used to wearing high-waisted jeans and tucking in t-shirts, if you then have a bump, it's like, oh, how do I do this? If you're used to having small boobs, it can be really hard to dress your boobs. But I do think it's one of those times like that you want to embrace them, and you know, I guess you just got to find what you feel comfortable in, and just accept, you know, that your body's changing and you're growing a human, and with that comes big boobs. And I mean, I loved it. I mean, you know, some people don't love it, and, you know, that's fine. But it's just all part of the journey of being pregnant, isn't it?
Totally. Gilda's right. You've got to have a level of acceptance about what's going to be happening to your body over the next 9-10 months and after. And it's a real journey, and it's not as easy as that. It takes a lot of soul searching. And if your boobs are the thing that's currently sort of making you feel not confident, then maybe take some time looking at them and dressing them in a different way and wearing different bras. Don't be fighting your old smaller bras. Like, go and invest in some really nice underwear. Just feel and start taking, like, this sounds a bit weird, but
I've got a hot. I can't believe
I know this girl's seen these photos.
I've got like a boob album on my phone. Oh fucking hell! I can't believe I've told you this. I've got a boob album on my phone where I was pregnant and my boobs were unbelievable. And basically, I just I don't think they've ever looked as good as they did then. And now I just go back and look at them. I used to send my boobs to Dozza. I used to send them to mates, just going, have a look at how great my tits look. Like I was really obsessed with them. So now I've just kept them. So if I ever decide to get a boob job, I'm just going to go in and go, like this, please. Thank you.
There we go. Create a boob album.
There you go.
This is interesting from Rachel. Friendship group suddenly feels competitive and it's making me doubt myself. Ugh. Advice.
Well, that's rubbish. That's rubbish for you, Rachel. I don't understand why that's happened, but it's all probably happened as a result of what's going on in your friends' lives, not what's going on in your life. I always find that competitive people respond better if you take the wind out of their sails and just go, yeah, okay, and just smile back at them and don't give any airtime to the competitiveness of the conversation. Don't dive in, don't get involved, don't comment on what your child is doing or your baby's doing at what stage. Don't even engage in it, and they will soon get bored by it. Because if you start going, oh, okay, yeah, well, you know, my child doesn't have any teeth, but my child learned to walk and my child was walking at 1, you know, then you're like feeding the competitiveness.
Yeah, and I was going to say as well, just like you say, that the groups become competitive. It almost seems like when that happens, it's like playing on people's insecurities, because it probably started from, like you say, Zoe, one person going, oh, my child's just started walking, and just putting a comment out there like, that's just what's happened. And then someone feeling like insecure that their child hasn't walked, so that they feel like they've got to keep up. And then this is just spiraled. And so I think it's important to remember that has probably just come from, like Zoe says, like everyone's insecurity, and just to not get yourself involved with it. I think that's the best thing to do, is just to kind of like let them get on with it, and it will soon, I'm sure it will soon dwindle. And you know, maybe it's, you haven't said it's about you know, parenting. It might be about work, or it might be about whatever, but all of these things are, you know, they're going to be a phase. And I think if you don't add to it, then hopefully it will fizzle. It will fizzle off.
I agree with George. I really do. A competitive parenting or competitive conversations are giant turds. It's like no time for it. Can we just support one another, and can we just all be on exactly the same page? Because we get enough competition in our lives. Let's just be here to love and cherish each other, and not be, you know, it's just like I haven't got any time for it. No time for it.
Absolutely.
You can be in our friendship group, Rachel. We're not competitive.
You can. We're
no, not at all.
Really not.
Aging is hard. The glow feels like it's disappeared, and the lack of energy. Oh, mate. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Aging is hard. Aging is really hard. I really envy people that are just embracing it, getting on with it, not worrying about it, and just being like completely happy with who they are. That is my goal. And I definitely, honestly, don't think I'm there. I don't think I'll ever be okay completely with aging. But what I'm not going to be, and by the way, before I make this comment, I love my mum so much. So this isn't an attack on her, but I grew up with a mother who couldn't age. You know, even though she's never had any work done, she's obsessed with how she looks and how young she is, and she never tells people her age, and she's constantly trying to be 21 still, and that comes with a lot of like amazing qualities, and she's got this real like childlike energy about her, which is really infectious, and you want to be around my mum at a party because she's the life and soul. But also what also comes with that is a feeling of like you know, she just cannot let herself go. It's all skin deep, you know, it doesn't go any deeper than that. It's just like surface level shit with how she looks. And it just, it's brought up so much inside me that I'm trying to look at my face every day, see, you know, the lines, you know, the lines around my eyes and everything that's changing in my face, and just trying to accept it and be okay with it. I'm working on it really hard, because what I don't want to do is be like that.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's really interesting that you talk about that, Zoe, because we see all the what we perceive as negatives of aging, like as in, you know, wrinkles and like whatever. But I was with friends on Saturday night, and we were playing a game. Like, I can't remember what it's called. It's a funny game, but it's kind of like it's not truth or dare, because there's no dares, but it's like talking about things that have happened in your past. And it's weird because I think we always look back so fondly of like our teenage years and our 20s and things. But I came away from it, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, God, I really wouldn't want to go back there.
No.
Like, I actually really wouldn't want to. Like, I'm actually so much happier in myself, like, as a person now than I was then. And actually, yeah, okay, like, you know, I've lost elasticity.
Yeah.
Lots of areas. But ultimately, I'm so much happier, and I think you've got to try and focus on those things. And it's really hard, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to be someone that tries to iron out wrinkles, because I'm sure I probably will be, you know, like, yeah, I will be doing those things. But I think you've got to hold on to the positives that come with aging.
Yeah, when I went to see my dermatologist, she said to me, she was like, you know, we can do what we can to try and slow down the aging process, to make you feel okay with it and comfortable with it. But what we cannot do is eradicate every single line that appears on your face, and we don't want to do that to you. And I was like, and I don't want that. I mean, the people that chase that, and that's their whole sort of purpose in life, I think, potentially are a bit unhappy. And, you know, I'm sort of trying to focus on other things than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's focus on the positive.
Yeah.
How do I stop myself comparing my postpartum body to my friends?
Oh, that is a tough one. That's a really tough one, because it's not just your friends, it's every single image that you see. It's every single, you know, it's people on social media, it's pictures on Facebook, it's, oh, look at me, I'm back into my jeans. And people don't mean to do it, because that's not what they're doing, I don't think. But every time anyone posts anything like that, you know, it can chip away at you and make you feel that you haven't done enough, or you haven't bounced back, all this language that we hear in the press and on socials. The only thing that my advice, and I always say this, there will always be somebody with a bigger car than you, with more money in the bank. There will always be somebody with a bigger house. There will always be somebody with a bigger garden. There will always be somebody that goes on a better in inverted commas, a better holiday than you. And so the comparisons are always going to be there in your life. And I spent a long time working in telly, comparing myself to other female presenters and going, why am I not booking those jobs? Why did I not get that? Oh my gosh, look at her. She's doing that. She's doing that. And I was really, really unhappy for a long time. And I didn't progress in my career as a result of it. So this is the same thing. If you are always looking around at what everybody else has done, you stop your own journey and you stop your own flow. And it's really important to focus on your body, your skin, and how you feel.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's all about you. And I think you only stop comparing. Well, I don't think you ever stop comparing yourself, like, totally. Like, you know, it's so natural, isn't it? Like, to see an image and be like, oh my God, she looks amazing, or whatever. Yeah. But I think ultimately, it does come down to feeling happy in your own skin and feeling happy with yourself.
And focusing on the things that you can control. Sorry, George, I was just going to say that. The things that you can control.
But also, we've spoken about this briefly before, like, just to caveat that, I think there is a big thing at the moment of embracing your body and how you shouldn't want to change things, but it's actually okay to want to change things. Yeah. I think there's it's almost flipped on its head that it's now really bad to strive to, you know, like to look a certain way. But as long as you're doing those things in a healthy way, I really don't see there's anything wrong with it. Like, I'm not saying that I want to look like I did when I was 17, but I don't feel like there's anything wrong with me kind of striving to look a certain way and doing that by, you know, just going for a run or doing healthy things. And ultimately, you might not even end up looking the way you set out to look, but the journey and you know, and doing things that make you feel good will make you feel better internally anyway.
Exactly. So, love that.
Yeah.
So we'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Vernon Kay. And I'm Holly Mackay.
And we're here to tell you about our brand new podcast, Parenting Past the Pandemic, brought to you by Aviva.
Yes, we're going to be delving into a whole heap of parenting topics, from the generational gap to online safety.
And some of the big topics which have come up through the pandemic, such as helping to manage our kids' anxieties and how we can affect the world they'll grow into.
Parenting Past the Pandemic. Find it wherever you found this podcast.
Welcome back. Now, where were we?
How to stop feeling insecure when you have a younger partner. I'm very jealous. Yeah, I think you need to ask yourself the question why you're feeling jealous. So take the age gap out of it, because age is just a number.
It really doesn't.
It really doesn't matter. You know, if it was the other way around and you had an older partner, you know, so this sort of social bias. I don't know if you're in a same-sex relationship or a heterosexual relationship, but regardless of that, if your partner was older than you, I'm sure they wouldn't be thinking, oh, I've got a younger partner. I think this is more about why you feel jealous, and jealousy is something that comes from deep within us when we feel that we are not secure in our own skin, when we feel that potentially we don't have the relationship that we crave or require. And often it's very easy to look at our partners and say, well, you're not giving me this and you're not giving me that and you need to do that and you're not doing that, which, okay, to a degree, maybe.
Yeah, sometimes,
jealousy comes from our own skin. I have been in a relationship with somebody and I was horribly jealous, and it ruined us. And in my marriage, we've been together for 7 years, I'm not jealous at all, not remotely, but that's because I feel very secure about who I am, what I want in life, what I stand for. We have a very open and communicative relationship. So my first point of call would be sit down with your partner and have a conversation with them. Show your vulnerability and tell them that you are feeling jealous and you don't know why. Take the heat. It's not an argument, it's a discussion. And then maybe you could come to some sort of, you know, understanding as to why you feel it. If there's any behavior patterns coming from that person that they might want to have a look at, if there's anything you can do to change that, that is all about communication. Jealousy is not something that you can be stuck with, that you want to be stuck with, or that you will be stuck with for the rest of your relationship.
No, absolutely.
I want to write a
book
book on it.
Love that from you, Zoe.
Thanks.
Absolutely love that. How do you accept that you are going grey? To die or not to die?
Never accept you're going grey. Oh, I can't. No.
Yeah. I think it goes back to the thing we were talking about earlier. Like, we can do all these things, can't we? Like, we always talk about, oh gosh, should we be shaving our armpits? Is that a good example to be setting to our children? But ultimately, like, these things are just like they're just on the surface. Yeah. And if they make you feel better internally, then surely that's all right. That's what I think. Like, if, you know, putting some hair dye on your hair over your greys makes you feel better internally, then I don't see what the problem is with that. Like, for me, that's fine.
I think we'll leave it there, George. I completely agree with you. Agree with you. I mean, should we take tips on accepting the squishy mum tum? Greatly received, especially going into summer. It kind of goes back to what we were just saying about being, you have to, unless you want to do something about it and change it, which is really bloody hard, then you have to have an acceptance of where your body is now. You can't accept your body if you want to change it. That's where my head is at. So if I look at myself in the mirror and I think, well, I don't like the fact that I've got cellulite, I'm just going to cut caffeine out for a month and I'm going to see how that, and if that works, then generally it does, then great. Or, you know, if I feel like my stomach's a bit bloated and a bit sore, stop eating wheat for a week. Like, there are certain things that I will do to kind of make myself feel better. And if the result doesn't come, then I have to learn to accept that maybe these are the changes that won't go. But if you want to change your squishy mum tum and you're not okay with it, then, you know, we've got to do something about it. And yeah, there are loads of things that you can do. If you are okay with it and accepting it, get some really great high-waisted kind of bikini bottoms, or an amazing swimming costume, or some high-waisted shorts, high-waisted jeans, just anything that will sort of suck and tuck in, and you'll feel great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like Zoe said, it's that balance, isn't it? It's like, it's okay to want to change your body, but if the changing of your body is going to make you unhappier than you are now, then it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But if it will make, you know, if doing those things do make you happier, then, you know, that's great. on all sides.
Yes.
This is interesting. This isn't so much of a question, but Hannah says, I was feeling very envious of Zoe's house. And then the next day, listening to the podcast when you said you were losing it, made me suddenly realise that I need to be grateful for what I have and not compare. Someone I didn't like much at school has a new amazing house. So I've just stopped following her on Instagram and now I feel so much better.
Oh,
I know.
That's interesting. That's a really interesting one. Yeah, I mean, we're in a rented house. I haven't been able to put roots down since I've met Doza because of our situation with Isla and the situation with her mum, who was moving around all the time, and I've had to pick up and go. Without going into too many details, from London to Guildford, from Guildford to Worplesdon, from Worplesdon we're moving again. Like we've been up and out. So I think that's more about kind of, definitely kind of not potentially sort of judging people on what you think is going on in their lives.
Exactly.
And it goes back to kind of focusing on what you guys have got. Like she said there, that's really lovely. Made me suddenly realise that I needed to be grateful for what I've got. It's such a brilliant lesson to have learned throughout all of that.
I know, because that's the thing, isn't it? We can compare ourselves to others, but we have no idea what people are going through at all. Absolutely no idea. But also when she says, oh, there's someone from school that's got an amazing house and it's making her feel rubbish, so she unfollowed them. Actually, that's okay as well, to do those things to protect you. If you are feeling a little bit insecure about something and there's someone there who appears to have everything that you want, it's okay to just kind of take yourself away from that situation for a while until you've kind of prepared yourself and then you feel like okay to face those things.
Wouldn't it be great, and I definitely don't think I'm there, wouldn't it be great if we lived in a world where seeing other people's amazing houses or positive messages or in inverted commas incredible bodies didn't make us feel anything other than completely sort of enlightened and full, rather than feeling jealous and insecure? Wouldn't it be great if we lived in that sort of world where we could look at other people's successes and think, oh well, look, they've got a great house, but that's okay with me, I'm fine with that. It was going to take a bit more teachings, I think, from all of us.
Yeah, and I do. I think it comes down to how you feel. Like we said, there's certain things that a friend is doing something amazing at work, and you'd feel really happy for them. Of course you would, but that would probably be because you're secure in your own job and your own work. Whereas if you're not, then you might feel a bit off. And I think we just need to remember that.
Somebody's asking for advice on postpartum pigmentation. How can I reduce this? If you head over to my Instagram page, just Zoe Hardman, you'll see in my highlights reel, there is a reel on melasma, and that is the hyperpigmentation that you get after pregnancy / I got it before. And it's a real bugger to try and shift. But I have managed to do it with the Obagi products. But I've done like a big kind of conversation about that on my Instagram. So if you want to head over there, you can get more information.
Amazing. It is incredible as well.
Yeah.
So your before and after pictures are, amazing. Absolutely.
If they ever stopped, if they ever discontinued this product, there's a chance I'll just be hiding under a rock forever.
Buy it all up.
You might be able to answer this one, keeping on the beauty ones. Georgia helps with starter retinol products. This year has aged me so much.
There's so many out there now. I think it's important just to start with something like really low. So I've been using the Beauty Pie one. I actually really rate Beauty Pie. We've never worked with them in any way for you to try things because I think it's about £10 or £15 a month to be a member, and then that gives you access to a certain number of products that you pay for, but they're so much cheaper than they would be. Yeah. So you can try retinol. You can try it, and it's like £11 as opposed to £70 or £80. Yes. If you're buying it on the high street, you can try it and see if your skin adapts to it okay, and then you can rebuy it and then you can build it up. But I do think the Beauty Pie one's a really good place to start because it's not very expensive, and also it's quite low, like a low percentage. So yes,
good advice. I need to get onto the Beauty Pie vibe.
Yeah, you should. It's really good. How long have I been doing it? About a year and a half now. Yeah, pretty good. I don't love all the products, but
you've got to try them out though, George. Like men, isn't it?
Well,
got to try them out till one sticks.
4 months post baby, losing my hair, completely new body. How to feel confident and attractive?
Oh yeah.
I feel like every person pretty much listening to this will have felt like this at some point, for sure. We all felt like this.
Yeah. Awful.
And do feel like this at times.
Yeah, still, definitely. Well, I mean, firstly, you've brought a baby into the world and you're only 4 months postpartum. So just give yourself a humongous pat on the back, because you've just got through the hardest, obviously the most blissful, but also sometimes I have to feel like I have to caveat every time I say the hardest bit, because it is the hardest bit, with the lack of sleep and the, figuring out how to be a new mum and stuff. So that's really, really tough. Georgia and I can completely relate to the hair falling out, because it happened to me in a massive way. I'm not sure if, did you go through any postpartum hair loss, George?
Yeah, I did, but I think I've got quite a lot of hair.
Yeah, you have.
So, I don't know. It wasn't like my biggest struggle. Other things that bothered me more, I guess, than the hair.
Yeah.
But
I think, So, I mean, we all listening to this, we all know exactly the moment that you're in at the moment. And I think it's, people often say to us, oh, how can you talk about, I think I've had one message once saying, like, how can you talk about sort of doing things, kind of beautifying yourself to make yourself feel better, when we should be looking, past that. And I completely agree with you, but it's very hard to say to a mum who's 4 months postpartum and struggling to feel confident and attractive, oh, just accept it. You've got to have a level of acceptance, because actually it's really bloody hard to accept it. You're knackered. Yeah. You haven't had any form of social life because we've been in lockdown. You probably haven't been seeing your family members. There's probably been nobody to help you. Like, it's a really, really, really tough time. So I would just say, if you can, start bringing in moments for you during the day, and whatever that looks like, whether that is going out for a walk by yourself, if you've got a partner that can take the baby, or a friend that can take the baby, or whoever it is in your life that's helping you, and just trying to top back up your building blocks inside, because 4 months after having a baby, you have given life and soul to this tiny human, and there has been nothing for you. And it's very hard to feel confident when you don't have any reserves left inside.
Absolutely. And just to add to that, Zoe, like Zoe was saying, people feel like you shouldn't worry about the way you look after you've had a baby. I remember people saying to me before I had Axel, oh, you won't care about going for blow dries once you've had him. You'll be over that. And to a certain extent, I don't do those things as much, but I still definitely care. I still definitely care about those things, and that's absolutely fine. So, as we're, coming out of lockdown, the salons are going to be open again, and all the things that so many of us relied on before to make us feel better. Think about those things. What was it? Was it going for a blow dry? Was it going for a spray tan? Was it having your nails done? Was it having a facial? What were the things that used to make you feel better?
Like you,
like you. And maybe just try and take some of that time back for yourself. We've all been at home. You've been with I'm sure you've been with your baby constantly for the last 4 months, not being able to see anyone else. Take some time back for yourself and do some of those things to make yourself feel better.
Also, I think listening to body positivity podcasts, and there are some amazing books that maybe, will help kind of boost your confidence from within. Following people that you really look up to and aspire to on Instagram that give you good motivation, maybe doing a little bit of exercise if you've been given the all clear from your doctor or your health visitor. Just kind of like Georgia and I said, it's putting back into you. It's making you feel like you are enough to spend time on. Don't forget that, because otherwise that tiny little thing will just sap everything from you, and I felt like that. I just felt like a shell. I was like, who even am I now? I don't know what I am.
Piecing yourself back together, and actually going through some other questions that we maybe won't be able to get to. It is all around that for all of us right now. We've just come out of we're coming out of a really strange time, and it is about going back to those things, those little things that used to make us feel like us, and and getting back into the swing of taking time for ourselves, and remembering we don't have to do it. We don't have to do everything.
Well, I feel like that's a really lovely place to end, actually. Although we could go on and on for hours talking about this subject, because not only do me and George feel all of the things that you've written in regularly, but there's so many questions, so I'm really sorry if we didn't get to your question today, but it looks like we're going to do another one, because I think it's needed.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what, confidence is something that is so complicated, isn't it? And feeling confident in your own skin is one of the hardest things that we can do, but something we really owe to ourselves to try and achieve.
And we're here anytime you need us, just FYI.
Absolutely. So do you know what? We haven't done products for so long because I feel like we've been quite product heavy on Instagram, haven't we? Like we've been buying a lot recently. But I think, been Easter weekend. What have you been doing? It's Kit's birthday coming up as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Facebook Marketplace and eBay because you know how I feel about secondhand toys. I am literally, I couldn't shout any louder and beat that drum about how we just all need to start recycling, upcycling, reusing toys because the world is just full of way too much plastic. And so last week, I bought 10 Barbies with like all the shoes and like the handbags and dresses and stuff. I stopped off at a lovely lady's house. She brought them out. £15 for 10 Barbies, FYI. Wow. The girl's gone absolutely bananas. After this podcast, we're driving to pick up part of Kit's birthday present, which is like all this Paw Patrol stuff. And it just, not only does it make me feel amazing that we're doing this, but the kids just do not know. And like, I haven't got the money to spend like hundreds of pounds. We're trying to buy a house. It's just so much better for the whole world if you do it. So Facebook Marketplace and eBay, two of my favourite things that I'm obsessed with at the moment.
Yeah, and you know what? Selling on there as well. Passing all of that old stuff on and old clothes and things like that as well. It's so important. Yeah. So this is something we actually mentioned on the podcast that we recorded with Fleur. It's the L'Oreal Miracle Water, right? And it's one of them things. I saw loads of people on Instagram like they've been sent it or whatever, so I thought, no, I'm gonna go and buy it. Like I want to see what it's all about. Wow, it is so good. And you know what I like about it as well? So many masks you have to leave in for ages, don't you? Like 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, and you just don't have time to do that. Whereas this is like a water, so you put it on before conditioner and you just massage it in for 8 seconds, and I swear it's like it's like almost like it puts a seal on your hair. And like my blow dries have been lasting longer since I've been like curls last longer since I've been using it. I don't know what I don't know the science behind it, but it's $4.99 at Boots at the moment, and I think Superdrug have got it on offer as well, so it's just worth a go. It's so good.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I'm completely sold. Love that. I'm going to go from beauty to snacks. We've spoken about the Squirrel Sisters before.
Yes.
And like these girls, I mean, I just love their whole story, to be fair. Gracie and Sophie, they've absolutely smashed it. They've just launched some new snack bars, which my kids are obsessed with. They've got a peanut caramel one, which obviously Isla can't eat because of her peanut allergy. But when she's not here, we're using those. But they've got so many different kind of selection boxes. They're now selling in all of the supermarkets. But like they've got cocoa brownie and like orange and just really healthy snacks, no added sugar, all really, really good stuff. And the kids seem to love them because they actually taste like proper, full fat brownies.
Do you know what? Judgy James is a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
Big fan. He loves it.
Love that.
Off I go back to beauty again. Can you tell, like, I'm preparing myself to be unleashed into the world again.
Yeah, where's she going?
Just to mention to a moisturiser which I used to use all the time is Clinique Moisture Surge. It's just one of those, if you just need a really good day moisturiser, nothing too heavy, nothing too fancy particularly, it's just a really good all-round hydrator, and it's not really expensive and it lasts for ages. I really rate it, rate it. It's something I'd forgotten about, and now I'm back in love.
Put that on my list.
Yeah.
But as always, we would love you to rate, review, subscribe and follow the podcast. And if you can tell anybody that's not listening to the podcast about us, that would be amazing, because what we're trying to do at the moment, we've got such an amazing loyal following. What we're trying to do is reach the parents that haven't quite got their heads around podcasts full stop. So the ones that aren't listening to any podcast, they just don't have them in their daily lives. So if you know somebody like that, that would be incredible. We need you to recruit.
Yeah, and also, do you know what? So many people say, I don't have time to listen to podcasts. Tag us when you're listening so we can show people when you do get those moments to listen to us and listen to podcasts. And we'll absolutely share them on our Instagram. And if you have got any suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, do drop us a DM. Our DMs are always open at Made by Mummers. And we'll be back on Tuesday.
See you then.